Hello YouTube-tastic people, Drobium77 here. Right, today I'm going to be mainly trying to get my Royal Enfield to spark back into amazing life again. Now this is a bike that's been stuck under a cover out here for the past 6 months. Here is the amazing motor, and the trouble today, apart from the battery not being charged up and it having lots of cobwebs on it, should have cleaned it a while ago before I bloody got it back on camera, but hey, is I need to take off carburetor here, and give it a good clean. Also the tank's got some old petrol in it, so that's going to need getting out. Spark plug is going to need, it's over the other side, going to need a clean. There's a bit of corrosion on the, this is ridden through winter and summer and God knows what else, so, but yeah. Alright, so I've loosened hopefully the 3 screws that only need loosening to get the thing off its manifolds. So that one's been loosened, that one's been loosened, this one's been loosened, so hopefully all I need to do is pull the carburetor that way and jiggle it a bit and it should come off towards me. Hopefully. These things never go to plan though, do they? There it comes, I think. There we go. There we go, that's off. Alright, so here we have the carburetor. Now I just have to undo this, the throttle slide here. Oh, I hate the smell of dead petrol. There we go, now it's the throttle slide which needs to be left there, and here one has a rather dirty looking and smelly carburetor. Right, so here we are in the kitchen, and I've just disassembled, well, taken some of the bits of the carburetor apart. Now the bit I'm interested in knowing that is clean, that bit of petrol there, stinks high heaven this, is, now this is the interior of the carburetor. Where's the, there we are. Right, so down here in this little hole here we've got the idle pilot jet, which it's sort of, that always chucks out petrol at low speeds so the bike doesn't stall and stuff. And then you've got the main jet here, which is that hole. These need to be clear. If these are sort of left for a long period of time, the petrol can solidify in like an emulsion, which I'll show you in a minute, which blocks these holes and stops it working. The other bit I'm interested in, this is a float. Now under there is, if we can get this out, you usually just need to push the thing through. Right, let's see if we can get this out without resorting to digging to find a pin or something. Oh, here we are. Right, gently does it. So that can come off like that. Now here, this little thing, there we are, is the float jet, and that needs as well to be, see this little thing here, sits in that little tiny thing. The float sits on top, obviously this is all upside down, and when the level in here, which is the float bowl, reaches a certain height, it pushes the float up a bit like the float in a toilet, and stops the flow of petrol into the carburetor so it doesn't overflow. Excuse the clock in the background. So that needs to make sure it's not gunked up, and that the little plunger thing on the end goes in and out freely. There's a little spring inside there, so it should spring backwards and forwards pretty easily. Also you can check around the edge here. I don't know how much of this you can pick up on the camera, but check there's no like groove. You see this silver cone shape at the top? Check there's no sort of groove in there, because if it's worn, this one's perfectly okay, then it will sort of let petrol around the edges of it, and that can cause flooding problems. And let's have a look at the main jet, which is this one. It should be easy enough to, never use too much force with these because they're all just brass, and they do actually they do thread pretty easily. So you can see, whoops, I don't know if you can see through there, but there's a hole in the middle, and that has to be perfectly clear. This is where all your hard-earned cash goes. This little tiny hole here in the carburetor. You can literally watch the pennies burn away, or even the pounds. Right then, so here inside the float bowl is the reason I've took the thing to bits. Now it's difficult to hold this and that at the same time, but if you look at the bottom of the dip here, inside there, can you see some like snot coloured stuff? And that is when petrol starts to go off, it leaves this like horrible dirty residue. Let me show you on my finger. Now doesn't that look nice? Look at that. Now if that goes into your carburetor, gets sucked back up, so if you go over a bump or something, that will get sucked into the jets or into one of the sort of pathways of your carburetor and block it up, and that's where you get troubles happening. So here we have a sink, here we have carburetor bowl and soapy water. Now it needs to be thoroughly swilled afterwards to get any residue of the soapy water out as well, because although people will grimace, I've used washing up liquid here, which you shouldn't use because it's got salt in it, but as long as it's swilled pretty well afterwards. Right, so I've washed it in the bowl and give it a good scrub, and now I've swilled it as well, as I say, to get all the salt residue off, making sure all the gasket surfaces are okay, because if it's not marked or anything it should be okay to reuse. I've reused gaskets before anyway, I've had no trouble with the float leaking or anything. The float valve height's set correctly, it shouldn't be a problem anyway. But what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, the other thing about old petrol is, I don't know if the company's put some sort of additive into it nowadays, but it goes off pretty quickly. I mean, literally about 4 or 5 weeks and you can start having trouble with starting your car or whatever. Right then guys, the next thing we've got to do is drain out the old petrol. Now there is a little bit in here, it's not an awful lot, but as I say, old petrol is not a good thing, so it's going to have to come out. So I'll just put that onto reserve. And actually there is a good thing that old petrol is pretty useful. You can use it for, the main thing I'd use it for is actually cleaning, because it's a brilliant solvent, and if you have sort of grease or built sort of grounding gunk or whatever I'm trying to say, you can use that old petrol and it will just get anything that's sort of slightly oil based, or you know, all the grime that builds up on your wheels or on your chain. Yeah, so don't waste it, don't sort of chuck it away or anything. Keep it in a sealed bottle somewhere, and it will be of use to you someday, hopefully.